Hello and welcome to another episode of The Word for Kids. I'm Jamie and I'm guiding you through the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel in a series of 20 episodes. Last time we learned about Elkanah, who had 2 wives, Peninnah and Hannah. Peninnah was able to have children, but Hannah was not. And this is something Peninnah teased Hannah about harshly and often. Hannah cried out to the Lord and begged the Lord to give her a son. She promised that she would dedicate her son to the Lord for his whole life. The Lord did give Hannah a son, Samuel, and once he was weaned, she took him to the priest at Shiloh and dedicated him to the Lord, just as she said she would. And he ministered to the Lord under Eli the priest. And that's where we left off last time. So, let's find out what happened next. As we mentioned last time, Eli the priest had 2 sons, who also served as priests. The Bible calls them scoundrels, which means they were dishonest and were not setting a good example to others. We've talked in different years about sacrifices that were offered to the Lord. As priests, Eli's sons were able to receive part of the meat that was offered in the sacrifice. But there was a certain way they were supposed to go about getting their meat. The first and best part was to be offered to the Lord. But Eli's sons were greedy and wanted to have the best part of the meat for themselves. They even threatened to take it by force. This was a sin that the Lord considered very great, because they were treating the Lord's offering with contempt, which means they were not regarding the sacrifices as holy and were being disrespectful to the Lord himself. Meanwhile, Samuel was ministering before the Lord. Every year, Samuel's mother Hannah would make him a little robe and bring it to him when she went up to offer sacrifices. Because Hannah was faithful to the Lord and dedicated Samuel as she said she would, the Lord blessed her with 3 more sons and 2 daughters. Eli heard about all that his sons were doing and said to them, "Why do you do such things?" He was trying to get his sons to stop what they were doing, but they did not listen to him. At the same time, Samuel grew up in stature, which just means he was getting older and bigger, but he also grew in favor with the Lord and with the people. This means he was gaining a good reputation with the people, and the Lord was pleased with him. A man of God came to Eli and reminded him of all the Lord had done for his ancestors, choosing his family to be priests. This man of God went on to ask Eli why he allowed his sons to continue to dishonor the Lord by taking the choice parts of the meat. Then he told Eli his sons Hophni and Phinehas would both die on the same day, and the Lord would raise up for himself a faithful priest. One night, Samuel was lying down in the house of the Lord, where the Ark of the Covenant was. The Lord called him. "Here I am." He ran to Eli and again said, "Here I am, you called me." But Eli told him, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." So Eli did so, and again the Lord called, "Samuel!" Again, Samuel got up and went to Eli. "Here I am. You called me?" Again, Eli said, "My son, I did not call. Go back and lie down." For the 3rd time, the Lord called, "Samuel!" For the 3rd time, he went to Eli and said, "Here I am. You called me." Finally, Eli realized it was the Lord calling Samuel, so he told him, "Go and lie down, and if the Lord calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" Samuel laid down, and the Lord came and stood there calling, "Samuel! Samuel!" Samuel did as Eli had told him. He said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Then the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle." The Lord went on to tell Samuel that he would carry out all that he spoke against Eli's family, because Eli knew about his son's sin and yet did not restrain them. This scared Samuel. He laid down until morning, afraid to tell Eli about his vision. But Eli called for him and asked what the Lord said to him and told him not to hold anything back. Samuel told Eli everything and did not hide anything from him. Eli replied, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." Eli knew he had done wrong by not holding his sons accountable for their actions, and he knew his sons had sinned against the Lord. He accepted what the Lord said. The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and Israel recognized that Samuel was a prophet from the Lord. Let's pause right there for today's Word of the Day.
Hello again, it's me, Eugene the Turtle, here with your word of the day. Today's word is prophet. A prophet is a man or woman with a special message from God. Prophet.
So Israel recognized Samuel as a prophet, and the Lord continued to reveal himself to him. Samuel's word came to all Israel. And that's the end of the story for today. Now it's time for the verse to remember. Today's verse is 1 Samuel 2:30d. Those who honor me I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. One more time. Those who honor me I will honor, but those who despise me will be disdained. Following the Lord means giving up our selfish desires to do what God asks us to do. What do you notice about the way Eli's sons lived their lives and the way Samuel lived his life? There's quite a contrast, isn't there? The Bible uses this chapter to show the great difference between those who follow the Lord's desires and those who follow their own desires. Samuel, who followed the ways of the Lord, came to know him intimately and became a prophet whom the Lord used to speak to the people. If you have parents who follow the Lord and hold you accountable for your actions, be thankful for their guidance. Think about your actions every day. Are you honoring the Lord with all your heart? If not, talk to your parents or church leaders about what you can do differently. That's all the time we have for today. I can't wait to see you again for another episode of The Word for Kids.